haven't had a home address in almost 2 years. And no, I'm not homeless. I live full-time on cruise ships. Sounds amazing, right? Ocean views, no rents, no bills. But here's the thing. The world is not set up for someone like me. Everything from getting your mail to using a credit card to verifying who you are, all of that assumes that you have a normal life, a home address, a house, all the things that come with it. And I gave all that up. Today, I want to show you exactly what happens when you don't have a home and whether this lifestyle is freedom or a problem waiting to happen. First of all, I don't have a mailbox, but yes, there are workarounds around that. The main options that people who are nomadic have as far as their mail are either use your family or there are professional services out there. So with the professional mail services, they will give you an address that you can use on your driver's license, for your passport, for everything in life. And all of your mail, your credit cards, everything like that goes to them. There are different packages that you can get, and depends on what you choose, but they can scan it for you. They can send your mail to you electronically, and or you can tell them to discard whatever you don't want, to hold on to certain things, what to send to you, what to forward to you for an additional fee usually, and that kind of stuff. I don't use any of that. The other option that I actually use is family. So of course you can just use your family's address. My driver's license and everything that requires an address has my daughter's mailing address on it. So anything that comes to me will go to my daughter, and then she can just let me know if there's anything important. I made a video, a behind the scenes video, showing the members of this channel what that actually looks like, how much junk mail I actually get versus how many pieces of mail that I actually use, what was important and what was, yeah, it was important, but she could have just scanned it to me. I didn't really need to have a hard copy, that kind of stuff. What I actually needed was not very much. And as we know in this day and age, almost everything is electronic. So there were a few things that were very important that I did want, and there's workarounds for that also. So as you know, I live full-time on cruise ships, but I don't live permanently on cruise ships, and I don't live on just one cruise line, on just one cruise ship. I go to different cruise ships and even different cruise lines, and sometimes in between the different cruises that I sail on, sometimes I'll need to stay in a hotel while I'm waiting for the next ship. So it might be just 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. I mostly book my hotels with IHG. That's another story for another day with the points and things like that. But all of the hotels that I normally stay in will collect the mail for me, whether that's from my family or from somewhere else. So they'll collect the mail for me and they'll just hold it there at the hotel. So if there's something important that I need, I can just ask my family, my daughter, one of my sons, somebody, my brother, to send it to me at the hotel that I'm going to, send it to me in advance, and it'll be there when I get there. Usually it'll be there like a week or a few days before I do. And then they just hold on to it for me and I get it when I get there. But 9 times out of 10, the mail that I get is junk mail, so I don't even worry about it. As far as packages, so people want to know, well, what if you need something from Amazon? All right. I find those questions kind of interesting. I always say where there's a will, there's a way. So, of course, the same thing with Amazon packages. If I know I'm going to be at a hotel, I can have them send it there in advance. For instance, I've had a brand deal for a suitcase. You might have saw that video last year. And I tried the suitcase out. It was with level 8. I do still have that suitcase. But yeah, they sent me the luggage over to a hotel. It was a Holiday Inn Express. And they sent the luggage over to me at that hotel in Barcelona, Spain. So to a whole totally different country. And it was probably there, I think, a week before I got there. So easy peasy. I got the suitcase once I got there. Also the same thing for Amazon, right? So Amazon could just send it to the hotel for me. I always ask, I kind of laugh when people ask that, because what do you envision, like Amazon drop shipping to a cruise ship? But Amazon is everywhere, right? And you know they have Amazon lockers in most places, so I could just have them either ship it to the hotel I'm in or ship it to one of the Amazon lockers. Of course, with the lockers, there's a time constraint. I want to say it's 3 days. You have to pick it up from the Amazon locker within 3 days, or it gets shipped back to them. But yeah, that's not really an issue for me. It's actually not a big deal at all. It's not as, just getting mail, getting packages overall is not as big a deal as people might think it is. The next thing would be banking and credit cards. So of course, because I'm moving around all the time, I get fraud alerts saying that, hey, someone's using your credit card over in the Bahamas or in Mexico or even California when your home address says you in Georgia. So yeah, they'll send me a message. I read it like, what you doing up there in Seattle, girlfriend? So I have had some transactions that got declined, but it's not a big deal as long as I'm not in a hurry, which so far I haven't been. There's an airplane over. Hang on. Somebody's flying to the Bahamas. So I have had some transactions getting declined. I just wait for them to automatically send me a fraud alert on my phone, and then I just press yes, this was me, and the transaction is good to go. Or sometimes I might even have to call them and say, hey, yeah, that was me. I'm the one who made that transaction. Let my transaction go through. And sometimes it'll automatically go through, but most of the time I have to run it again because the transaction already got declined. So yeah, I do get fraud alerts and I do have to prove who I am. But to me, that's no different than anybody else who just flew in on that airplane that's going over to the Bahamas for a little bit, right? If people who go on vacation and they're traveling to a different country, for me, it just happens to be more often than it is with other people. And honestly, for me, that's not really a big deal. Once you've done it once or twice, it's kind of expected. So I'm fine with that. The other category regarding not having a home address is forms and systems. So of course, everything asks you for a home address when you're filling out different things. I just filled out an extension with the IRS for my taxes, and obviously, you know, when you're having things shipped for billing purposes, they want ID verification, and basically you have to fit into a system that you don't really live in, right? Because I'm not really physically living there. So if you're going to be living the type of travel nomadic lifestyle that I live in, you will need an address, even though you don't have a stable home. So you'll need to think about what option you want to use if you're going to do that. What about healthcare and emergencies? Obviously, I don't have a local doctor in every country. My doctors are all still in Georgia. As far as travel insurance, as you know, medical, your regular health insurance coverage, all of that needs a home address. Again, for me, I just use my daughter's address. What happens if something goes wrong? Most health insurance companies in the U.S., most health insurance plans will provide medical coverage for you in your home area, with the exception of emergencies, and then you're pretty much covered anywhere in the U.S. So I do have health insurance that covers me in the U.S. and travel insurance that covers me out of the U.S. That way, if I have an emergency, I can go to a hospital and I know that it's going to be covered. I have not had to do that yet. If I have something that's urgent but it's not an emergency, well, I have a high deductible anyway. So 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be paying for my care on my copay. I have had a couple of urgent care needs that I had living so far on the cruise ships, and I just paid out of pocket for those. I have not gotten anywhere close to my high deductible yet. Once was an urgent care where I went to for kidney stones over in Long Beach, and twice on the cruise ship. And for me, that's okay. As far as not having a doctor, I'm fine with that. Having local doctors where I'm going, I'm fine with that. I do schedule time off of the cruise ships to go to visit family and friends and just take time off, but also to visit my regular doctor, my dentist, get my annual physical done. If you're thinking about a type of lifestyle where you're living permanently out of the U.S., that's a whole different process and not covered in this video. I can only talk about my anecdotal experience and how I use my daughter's address. So now it gets down to freedom versus trade-offs. I obviously have no rent, I have very little stuff, but I have total freedom. Trading that off for having somewhere on land that I go to on a regular basis, for me, is definitely worth it. Yes, it's, depending on how you look at it, it's less stable. Yes, I have more problem-solving processes that I need to work through. I don't even know if I want to say more, different problem-solving processes, right? And when you're living this lifestyle, you figure things out and how they're going to work for you and whatever you need to do to continue to have that freedom. And for me, those are very minute, very trivial issues, and they don't bother me, not one bit. So yeah, I don't have a home address, and to some people that might sound crazy, but to me, it's freedom. I woke up in a new place today here in Freeport, Bahamas. And just about every other day, I wake up in a new place. Half the time it's paradise. The other time it's either at sea or back somewhere in the U.S., which those ports themselves are paradise, right? I don't have a lease, I don't have a mortgage, I don't have a house tying me down. So if I decide that I want to change up and go somewhere else, I have the liberty to do that. But I also have to think about things that most people never do. Where does my mail go? Will my credit card get declined? What happens if something goes wrong? This lifestyle is not for everyone, and that's okay. Definitely living full-time on cruise ships, there are not going to be a lot of people doing this. And I actually like that because I feel like my life really ships. I think they're talking to each other. I actually like that a lot of people are not doing this because I feel like my life has always been very unique, and this is a very unique experience, and I am absolutely enjoying it. So far, I have had people ask me, well, when do you plan to move back on land? What is your transition plan? Are you going to move somewhere else? All that good stuff. I've even had family ask me, are you moving back to Florida, back to Orlando or to Atlanta? And I do have some backup plans. I even made a video about it. And right now it's indefinite because I'm absolutely loving this lifestyle. I have a couple times considered, slightly thought about living on land, but I couldn't bring myself to do it because why stop doing something that you absolutely love, something that is working for you? And that's how I feel about living full-time on cruise ships. This lifestyle isn't for everyone. You're definitely, I'm not going to even say definitely, depends on who you are and what we're talking about. But in some ways, you're trading convenience for freedom. And the question is, what matters more to you? This has been Linnell with more proof that life doesn't have to look the way they said it should.